You're listening to G-Woman Radio, the 24/7 radio for the gifted, genius, and game-changing woman.
Welcome to the G-Spot, powered by G-Woman Radio. The G-Spot is a bold space for genius conversations with global game changers. Each episode of this live radio show brings together thought leaders, innovators, business owners, creators, and change makers for fearless conversations about leadership, legacy, innovation, and global impact. Now welcome your hosts, Alex Okoroji, Frankie Picasso, Swapna Abraham, Clara Rufai, and Mayuri Naidu.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the G-Spot. My name is Alex Kurji, and I'm coming to you live from Maryland, USA. And yes, you're listening to us live on G-Woman Radio, and it's another Friday here. And I'm always excited to get together with my very special co-host, and I want to check in on the ladies to find out how they're doing. Hi, Frankie. How are you?
Hey, Alex. I am fabulous as Fabulous Friday, the 13th, mind you. It's my anniversary, so happy anniversary to us. And it's snowing again. Mother Nature, what are you doing to us?
Oh my God. First of all, happy anniversary to you and Dan.
Thank
wow,
you.
That's amazing. And about the snow, I know yesterday it snowed here. Today is all sunny, and I'm so grateful for the sun. Swapna, how are you?
Hello, Alex. Happy anniversary, Frankie. And to everyone over here, this is Swapna from Cochin, Kerala, India. Just walking into the studio in my backyard. Gosh, it started drizzling. I'm like, what's going on? It's not time for it as yet, but here you go. I know the weekend's almost here.
And Clara, how are you?
Hi, everybody, and happy anniversary, Frankie. I'm good. It's wonderful to be here again with my brilliant co-host for yet another hour, my favorite hour on a Friday, of meaningful conversations on the G-Spot show. I'm joining you live from the G-Woman studio here in London, where it's been raining a bit too much. But we're here and we're ready to go.
Woohoo! And Mayuri?
Hello, everyone. Frankie, happy anniversary. I am broadcasting all the way from Johannesburg, South Africa, where it was raining and miserable, but it is now sunny. I don't know what's going on with the weather these days. But I'm looking forward to Friday, looking forward to the weekend, and I'm saying hello to everyone and hoping you have a fabulous time with us at the G-Spot.
Nice. Woohoo. Well, that's amazing. And you know what? I'm just always excited that we can get together every week to have genius conversations with our global game changers. So everyone, listeners, welcome to the G-Spot. As I mentioned, this is where genius meets the global game changer. I'm Alex Okoroji, like I mentioned, and I'm joined by my powerhouse co-hosts, the co-founders of G-Woman Media. Today, the theme is the digital matriarchs, women redefining influence online.
You know, I didn't tell you people, but I am coming to you from the Toronto studios, where every week we bring you bold conversations with women shifting culture, challenging systems, and creating new legacies.
And today's episode is all about the digital matriarchs, women redefining influence online. And we are super thrilled to welcome a game changer who is blazing trails in her field.
But, before we reveal our extraordinary guest today, I know you know what time it is. Yes, it's the G-Spotlight moment, you all. So today on the G-Spot show, I'm very pleased to be, highlighting two remarkable women from the G-Woman magazine Gutsy Issues Power List. Women whose voices and platforms are shaping global conversation in the digital age. First up, Michelle Obama. Now, Michelle has transformed her influence from the White House into a global digital leadership platform through books, podcasts, and speaking engagements and media production. Through Higher Ground Productions, Michelle uses storytelling, film, and podcasts to shape conversations on leadership, identity, and education. And the G-Woman Gutsy Issue Power List highlights her as a global role model who elevates education and empowerment worldwide and who uses storytelling platforms to inspire millions across the world. And guess who the next lady up is? The next person is Malala Yousafzai. Malala's voice became a global digital movement for girls' education after she survived a Taliban attack. Through the Malala Fund, she mobilizes global audiences online to advocate for education for girls. She's recognized on the G-Woman Gutsy Issue Power List as the youngest Nobel laureate. She's championing girls' rights to education. Malala shows that digital influence is not only about visibility, it's also about mobilizing the world around a purpose. And so together, these two extraordinary women remind us that true influence in the digital age is not measured only by reach, but by impact. How voices inspire change, how it shapes narratives, and how it mobilizes communities around the world. And with that powerful reminder about influence and purpose, I'm passing the mic all the way over to Mayuri in South Africa.
Thank you, Clara. Indeed. If you haven't read our latest Top 50 G-Woman Power List in the Gutsy Issue 2025 edition of G-Woman magazine, after the show, why don't you head on to www.gwomanmag.com to read about the amazing, gifted, genius, and game-changing women that are featured. Over to you, Alex.
Thank you, Mayuri and Clara. Every week I look forward to the G list because obviously you always have very interesting women women featured on it. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick commercial break and we'll be back. Don't go anywhere, listeners.
Every era has its turning point, a moment when silence becomes too small for the voices ready to rise. Across continents, across cultures, women are creating, leading, building, and redefining what power looks like. But brilliance needs a platform, courage needs an amplifier, and genius deserves a global stage. Welcome to G-Woman Media, a place where women's stories are not an afterthought, they are the centerpiece. Where diversity isn't decoration, it's our DNA. Where leadership isn't asked for, it is claimed. At G-Woman Media, expression is power. We amplify women's voices, stories, experiences, and ideas to shape culture and inspire change. At G-Woman Media, excellence is our standard. We build high-caliber media platforms, content, and communities that honor the brilliance of women. At G-Woman Media, representation is a right. We create spaces where diverse global women are visible, valued, and celebrated. At G-Woman Media, leadership is feminine. We promote women's leadership, agency, and influence across industries and continents. At G-Woman Media, legacy is built, not given. We empower women to own their platforms, shape their futures, and leave impact-driven legacies. We are the magazine that documents her rise, the radio that carries her voice, the TV that tells her story, and the community that holds her journey. For the global woman, gifted, genius, game changer. This is your space, G-Woman, your mirror, your megaphone, your movement. The world is listening. Now it's your turn to speak.
Yes, now it's your turn to speak. And we're back. Wherever you're listening from, this is the G Spot. And yes, you're listening to us live on G Women Radio. And we do have our Genius Game Changer here in the studio already. And so, let's get into it. So today, our guest is Joselyn Dumas. She is an award-winning Ghanaian actress, television host, producer, and philanthropist, known for her authenticity, elegance, and powerful voice in media. Now, with a career spanning film, television, and digital platforms, she has become one of Africa's most respected media personalities. She is the creator and host of Keeping It Real with Joselyn Dumas, a YouTube talk show where she has honest conversations about life, relationships, growth, and societal issues, and where they take center stage. Now, beyond entertainment, Joselyn is passionate about women's empowerment, wellness, and meaningful storytelling that sparks dialogue and inspires change. Now, through her work on screen and through the Joselyn Dumas Foundation, she continues to use her platform to uplift communities, champion important causes, and encourage people to live boldly and authentically. We're so excited to have you here with us, Joselyn. How are you?
Hi. Thank you for the introduction. That's really nice. Thank you. I'm well, thank you. How are you ladies doing?
We're doing very well.
Joselyn, welcome to the G Spot. We are really happy to have you here on the show. Joselyn,
Thank you
I
for
know that you were
having me.
voted in high school to be the entertainment prefect. Did you always know that you would be a performer? And what was the spark that started your journey?
Wow, thank you so much. You've done your research. I love that. So when I was younger, I grew up in church. So, my grandmother was a deaconess, and, Sunday was when we had to learn Bible verses and, act in, all the Bible story plays and stuff like that. So I've always been that child who was not afraid to stand in front of the crowd or, I think the confidence was instilled in me even as a little, like as a 3-4 year old. So I've always had the knack for acting and debating and just being standing in front of people. I had the confidence to do that. So, and my grandmother was also a thespian. She taught performing arts in school. She had her own TV show. She had a few, she taught performing arts and culture in University of Ghana. And then she had her own TV show as well. So I think I didn't choose art. Art chose me, really, because I was born into it. And it's something that was instilled in me even as a child. And so, yeah, that's where it started from. So I've always been in the forefront of anything that has to do with entertainment or, just public speaking, you name it. Yeah.
You come by it honestly.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you for that. Over to you, Swapna.
Thank you, Frankie. Jocelyn, life is a stage and we're all the actors, aren't we? I love that I get to ask this question. I get to ask the little bit of a weird question. I'm sure you had them too. Huge barrier growing up, and if you don't mind sharing, and how do you overcome it?
Huge barrier growing up.
Any,
That
something you talk about. Yes.
something I talk about growing up. Okay, so I don't even think I thought about that even as a child growing up, to be honest with you. I think when I got old, when I got some barriers that, I was almost vilified for having the kind of voluptuous figure that I have. The media made fun of me for my body. And, I think what it was the confidence at which I came onto the screens with how I looked gave other women the confidence, but I got a lot of backlash for it. So I've been accused so many times of, going under the knife and doing something to my body. And at the time, I wanted so much to prove to people that it's not true and I'm real. And why don't you give thanks to God? I mean, if doctors can be perfect, if you think I'm perfect, why can't you give the glory to God who made me as this perfect human being, that you think that I'm so perfect that I can't be created by God and it has to be a doctor doing it, So that was some of the things that I feel. But honestly, I had an amazing childhood. I was surrounded by love, a loving family. And you know how Africa, we're just very extended family. It takes a whole village, literally. So after school, we all wait at my grandmother's house. We got up to all these naughty things. They'll tell us not to go. There was a cinema next door behind my grandmother's house, which was like the ghettos. And my grandmother would say, don't go there. And by the time she realizes, where's Jocelyn? Where's her staff? Where's Madame? And we're in the cinema watching a movie, literally. And it's like all these Chinese movies and stuff. So I had such a childhood that, confidence was something that my grandmother would say, ladies have to be seen and heard. So that was instilled in us, even as young girls in my family. So I've always spoken up for myself. But I realized that when I started, when I came into the entertainment scene here in Ghana, it was, I found myself trying to shrink so I can fit the narrative. And one of the
Yeah.
things that I am doing better now, even as I'm older, and it's a journey, and it's something that you never sort of come to um it's a cycle, right? So every day you
Correct.
improve yourself, you try to be better. And I said to myself, looking back, I should have done something that would have potentially given me some good money. I should have rode on the negative press and probably done some body shapers or something at the time. But I was really so honestly, because and even till yesterday, I'm still being accused of going under the knife and getting the body that I have and stuff like that. I'm like, my dad used to be so upset, like, Jocelyn, there's so much more to you than that. Can they just talk about all the great things you're doing? Why are people just coming after you? Because they felt like I was lying, and the more they put pressure on me, I'll probably crack and speak the truth. But this is really who I am. So that was a big barrier for me in my career, because I found myself trying to shrink to fit the narrative. And that was one of the things that I sometimes regret, that I didn't ride on it to do something from it or with it.
Lovely. Thank you,
Yeah.
Jocelyn, for
Yeah.
sharing that. That was really special. Lovely. Thank you. Over to you,
Yeah.
Clara.
Oh, well, I was just smiling listening to Jocelyn share about her grandmother. Jocelyn, it's easy to
Yes.
see that she had quite an impression on you. She made quite an impression on you.
No,
It's the
she
same. I'm the
did.
same with my grandmother. I was actually named after her. So the name
Oh,
Clara
bless.
originally belonged to my grandmother. So just hearing you talk
Bless.
about her, I was just smiling from cheek to cheek here.
Yeah, that's
But yes,
nice. That's
Jocelyn,
so nice. I miss
enjoying the
her.
conversation so far. Oh, may she rest in
Yeah.
peace. So I do want to ask you, in today's digital world, sometimes it's easy to misinterpret or mistake influence for visibility and popularity. So I do want to
Absolutely.
ask, because you're someone who's built a powerful media presence across film, television, and digital platforms. So my question to you is, from your perspective, what is one myth about digital influence that you would love to bust open right here on today's show?
Okay, so that's a very heavy question, but I like that. So the thing that I find, I was telling my daughter this morning that, oh my God, I thought I was a millennial, but I think I'm Gen X, because I was born in 1980. I'm like, man, but I was just a baby at the time, so they should start counting from when I was like 5 or 6. But you know what? I am proud to be from that era where we had friendships, going to someone's house, riding a bicycle, and the street light is going to tell you that it's time for you to go home. And I'm from that era where we used to go and play with our friends, and we'll meet by the street corner and just chat. And we had real relationships, right? And I'm also glad that I saw the transitional period where, computers. I remember at the time in Ghana, Hewlett Packard was so popular. Everybody wanted to own a computer. My friend's father was the sole distributor at the time in Ghana for Hewlett Packard computers. And we used to like sing along to the HP, the adverts and stuff. I mean, I have lived through the times, and I've seen firsthand, the benefits and the pitfalls of both worlds, right? But one of the things that I feel like social media or digital space is doing for us right now is that it is such a positive space that it's positive and negative. But I think a lot of us, or most of us, find ourselves focusing on the negative part. So for instance, I told you that in the beginning I was actually chastised for having the body I have, and I always had to try and defend. I never defended, funny enough, but it really got to me when I read some of the comments. But the funny thing is, in all of the comments that I was reading, or all some of the headlines that I read, there were very positive ones as well. But I wasn't dwelling on the positive ones. I kept dwelling on the negative. And what that did was it kind of inhibited me from living my full potential at the time. So one of the things that digital space does is giving us that opening, right? Now, I mean, I remember back in the day, again, I'll always keep referring, because I had cousins and, uncles and aunties and stuff who lived abroad, and we used to look forward to them bringing VHS cassettes, and we'll watch, music videos and stuff. Like, oh my God, America is cool, man. Is that how it looks like? It looks like there's a party there every day. I want to go to America. And we were waiting for the MTV base, the VHS tapes before we can see how some of the music videos were even done or shot in America. But now, when it's being done, we are seeing it firsthand. So this is the beauty of where we are at right now with the digital space. And I think that is how you use it determines where your end, because you can't decide to focus on the negative all the time. I mean, I feel social media has brought me closer to the G spot. It has brought me to a lot of people that are, digital space, for instance, has brought me to a lot of people that I wouldn't necessarily have met if we went in this age right now. I've had some good brand deals, from that. Yes, every now and again you get the negative side of things, but I always tell my daughter that in every negative there's a positive. So, and there's a lot more positive in every negative. So focus on the positive. And I think one of the things that I want to bust is that social media is a help. I mean, I keep saying social media because that's, but digital space is a helpmate for all of us, because now I can just pick up the phone. I'm sitting behind my laptop in Accra and I'm speaking to beautiful ladies in different parts of the world right now. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. So I think that we need to focus on the good and use it for the good and betterment of mankind, rather than using it for like all the negative things. Yeah.
I love it. I love the fact that we have digital freedom in this day and age.
Exactly.
How lucky are we?
What?
Thank you for that, Joselyn. Well said.
Thank you.
Over to you, Mayuri.
Thank you, Jocelyn. Thank you for that answer. Yes, there are lots of negatives in the digital space, but I think if we focus on the positive, we can come out better for it. And we just need to remind ourselves of that every day. It's very easy to get pulled into the negative.
Absolutely.
So thank you for that reminder. I would like to know, what advice would you give to the next generation of female leaders and creatives?
I think one of the things that I can speak for me, one of the things that has worked for me is that I even with everything that I've faced, everything, and I have faced some pretty interesting things. What I always do is I remain true to who I am. And I think that's one of the things that my grandmother instilled. And I'm going to go back to her every now and again, because she always tells us that you are uniquely you. There's only one you. Nobody can be you. And that is your superpower. So one of the things that I wanted to, I just came from a mentorship program, actually. That's why I was a bit flustered in the beginning, but I did a little mini mentorship thing. It's a speed mentorship. And one of the girls came to me and she says, Jocelyn, I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. I can do this. I can't do that. I feel like everybody's doing it. And I said, my dear, the one thing that you have, which is superpower, is you, so you can only be you, and you can be a better you every single day. But if you try to be somebody else, if you try to be a Jocelyn, if you try to be another actor or another digital guru or a media mogul that you probably admire, then you're going to actually be living a lie. And once you live a lie, it's only a matter of time the truth comes out, and then you're seen for who you really are. But if you're authentically you, and you one of the things I don't do is I don't expose myself on social media. If I did, I'll get a lot of likes, I'm sure. But one of the things I do is if I do it sexy, I keep it covered. And I have remained. There were times that I was so tempted to do something that would just shake up the internet a little bit and just cause a little uproar and stuff like that. And I thought to myself, that's not who I am. So I'm not going to try to be something that I'm not, because how do I sustain it? Because then once you put one picture of you in a bikini, you need to keep putting more pictures of you in a bikini. And are you willing and ready to do that? I'm using that as an example, but in everything you find yourself doing, in leadership positions, I think a lot of us suffer from imposter syndrome. All of us in our own small way. But one of the things that I feel that has worked for me is I remain true to who I am. I have turned down certain jobs because I was meant to show some nudity. And I said, well, it's great. If you're not willing to meet me halfway and compromise, I'm not going to do it. And it's fine. Anyone who decides to do it, they can. But baby, that's their brand. That's who they truly, authentically are. But who I authentically am is not comfortable doing something like this. And I'm not going to start doing it now. Because I can't keep up. Yeah. So I think one of the things that I can tell and I told a young girl today that I said, you have to be you. Forget about everybody else doing the same thing you're doing. What makes you unique and what makes you stand out is you being you. The next person doing the same thing you're doing is not you, and that is your
Yeah.
superpower. So I think that's the in a nutshell, that's what I'll tell young women and leaders out there, that, just remain true to who you are. Live your truth, live it to the fullest. And when you
Thank
think no
you.
one is watching, that is when somebody comes up and says, I mean, my keeping it real, for instance, I've been doing it for so many years now. And it's just in recent times that people are noticing that, oh my God, Jocelyn, that is a beautiful talk show. I like your style of interviewing. I've been doing this since 2017. And it's only now coming
Wow.
into the forefront. Exactly. And if I had decided that, because I am passionate about talk, I love talking to people, I love to hear people's stories, right? But if I had said, everybody else is doing something else, and, let me jump on that wagon, and then I'm diluting who I am. But I have stayed true to who I am. And it's only in recent times that I go, oh my God, I saw your show. It's actually quite nice. Oh, that interview with Nanaba was really great, profound. And I'm thinking, wow. I was actually almost about to fold up and say, you know what, maybe the digital space we're in right now doesn't call for my style, because I'm still from that school where interviewing style is still quite, the interview, like the sit down conversational style is still quite popular. But I feel like now it's more of the clickbait, it's more of the controversies, and I'm not for that. So I was about to say, you know what, I can't. So let me just stop and try and focus on something else. And that is when people are now telling me, oh my God, Jocelyn, this is great. And I'm thinking, wow, I was just doing it. I was just being myself. I don't think I've done anything
Yeah.
extraordinary, but it's just me being who I am and enjoying the space that I've been given. Yeah.
Thank you, Jocelyn. It's so wonderful how our grandmothers, no matter what culture we are from, they are the ones that have the greatest impact on us. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
And over to you, Alex.
Thank you, Mayuri and Jocelyn. I was just smiling listening to you share about your experience. And I think, just to shape it for the listeners, I don't think a lot of people get what it really feels like to be on screen in front of the camera, to be your celebrity, and to be a celebrity in this day and age, right? Where social media sort of connects the fans, the audience, closer to you with a lot of thrall. We talk about trolls and stuff like that. But you talking about your, the experience you had with body image, right? Even though you were born the way you were, and you're born the way you are, and people spend money to go look like that.
Exactly.
People really, made you feel like you were less than, even though they admired how you look and they wanted to create a narrative out of that, especially with the African media. I know how that works. So, thank you for sharing that. And I know you also talked about just how social media can be valuable for us in this day and age, and how it's better to focus on the positive side of what it's doing for us than the negatives. And of course, the great advice that you're giving to younger women, which is be you, right? I don't think there's any better advice than to tell someone that, just be uniquely who you are, because you being a copy of somebody else is less than, really, but nobody else can be you. So just thinking about your work, having spanned, different multidisciplinary roles within the media, whether as an actor or as a talk show host, as a media personality, as all the stuff you've been doing, and even the work you do, the nonprofit work you do. And I know you talked about the young woman who came to you and you were seeking your advice. And I'm sure, like many other young women and men who appreciate the work that you do, whether they're enjoying your movies or, they're enjoying the conversations that you're having on your talk show. At what point, there's a question we like to ask, which is, what's your G-spot moment? And for us, that G-spot moment is that sweet spot, right? That moment when you realized, I was built for this. The moment when it clicked and everything just made sense. Like, this is it. Can you share with us when that moment was?
Okay. So I think a couple of years ago, I had a flagship talk show, if not the biggest talk show in Ghana at the time. And before I started working at the TV station, I was working in another production company, and I was hosting a smaller show for the national television of Ghana, like Ghana Television. And so I was literally headhunted to come and host this talk show. I got a lot of good press for it. Obviously I had to learn on the job. And my bosses at the time were like, "Oh, this is Ghana's answer to Oprah Winfrey, blah blah blah." Her interview style. I had a lot of good press, so the show started and it was quite good. People loved it. It was a lifestyle talk show, so we just brought a variety of different guests, and we had different. We do discoveries and stuff. I discover a musician somewhere in some corner. Maybe I go to like a nice restaurant and I hear someone singing. I'm like, can you come on the one show and do something for us? Let the rest of the world see your talent and stuff like that. It was a beautiful, beautiful show. So one day I was going to work, and I saw a picture of mine in the newspapers. A beautiful picture of me smiling, huge, big at the front page. And I was like, oh my God, Mama, I made it. I'm in the newspapers. Oh my God. So I bought it. And when I bought the paper, everything that the writer wrote was to criticize my interview style, the way I spoke, and they thought I was too fidgety. I wasn't cut out for the show. They should take me off and put somebody else on there. It was very bad. So I read it, and I was actually on my way to work at the time. And I think at the time when I got to work, my bosses had seen the paper, and they were trying to keep it away from me. But I had already bought it in traffic. You know how Africa is. You can buy every and anything in traffic. So I get to work, and my boss calls me and he says, "Joselyn, are you okay?" I'm like, "I'm fine." So I went into the changing room, and before my makeup was done, I wept. I cried so hard because I'm thinking, oh my God, this is the moment. This is a defining moment for me, because am I going to run away and believe what this reporter said? Or what am I going to do with what this reporter said? But I needed a good cry. And I tell my friends, I tell the girls that I mentor, I'm like, when you need a good cry, my darling, it doesn't make you weak. Cry. Have a good cry. Get it out, rather than you trying to put up a brave face. It doesn't help anybody. So I told my producers, I said, give me 5. I needed a good cry because I was in traffic and I couldn't do that because I didn't want anyone asking me what's wrong with me. I was driving to work. So I cried and I said a prayer. And then I went out there and then I did the show. It was a live show. We did it live every single day. And once I finished, I said the prayer and I went on the show. I said to myself that I'm not going to believe what this reporter is saying. What I'm going to do is, yes, he criticized me. He probably made 1 or 2 points that I need to work on. I'm going to take it, I'm going to work on it, and I'm going to come back better. And that was, for me, that was a G spot, because right after that moment, I'll be honest with you, in the beginning, it was all fun and games for me because, like I said, I was like, wow, this is a big show. Okay, let me just have a good... And again, I always tell my friends and my daughter that in everything you find yourself doing, make sure you enjoy it. Enjoy what you're doing so you never have to work a day in your life. So for me, it was like, I'm having a great time. I love talking. I love interviewing people. I'm doing great, but I needed that check from that reporter. In the beginning, I resented him. I said, how can you even write this about somebody? Why wouldn't you just encourage a young girl I had all the words for him. But I said to myself, I spoke to my mom about it. I spoke to a few of my mentors and they were like, Joselyn, you are either going to use the stones they throw at you to build a friggin' castle, or you're going to let that stone bury you. You choose. And I said, you know what? I'm going to build a castle. End story. And that was it. So after that moment, I think maybe a month or 2 later, I saw the reporter and I said, Francis, thank you so much for that article you wrote about me. Because guess what? It made me sit up. It made me realize that this is something that if I do and I do it well, because first of all, I enjoy it. It comes so naturally. If I take it seriously, I can go somewhere and be somebody with it. So thank you. He was shocked because he thought, when he saw me, he was avoiding me because he knew that, he was quite harsh with his words, but I said to him, I said, thank you, because that redefined who I really am. And that made me take up space. I became unapologetically me, but the only way you can be unapologetically you is when you actually know your work, when you actually take it home, when you actually live, breathe the work. I was watching anybody and everybody that I admired on TV, Oprah, Ricky Lake, you name it, Montel. I watched all these talk show hosts out there, and even some of them who were local, who were even doing talking points and all their, finance programs and stuff. I will watch them on mute. I will watch their body language. And I'm like, okay, maybe he's right. I'm a little animated. I need to tone down on the animation a little. I mean, Africans are animated. We like to express ourselves with our hands and stuff. And I was doing that a lot on the show. I'm like, look, listen, he means well. He probably didn't. His outlet wasn't probably the best. The words he used weren't the best. But I think he means well, and I'm never going to hate him for it. And every time I see him, I thank him for that article, because that was a sweet spot. Because after that, I took up space, and everybody. I mean, I will go to town and like, oh my God, Justin, that is beautiful. Oh my God, you're such a great. Oh my God, you're such a great host. Something's shifted. It's like I love the Joselyn I'm seeing now. So everybody else could see the fidgety Joselyn, the young Joselyn, but they could see the growth and how willing and able and ready I was to take it to a different level, because this guy had said all these things about me, and I didn't let the rocks bury me. I actually built a fort with it.
Yeah.
So that was my sweet spot.
Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Jocelyn. And I think that why this is so great is you're using something that could have been negative, right? Something that could have been critical as starting a moment that propelled you to work even harder on something that suddenly became, not just a passion, right? Because it started off as, like you said, all fun and games. Oh, I can do this. And then all of a sudden realize, man, I really want this bad. I want to be better. I want to be good. I want to be. So thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing that. I think that is empowering to a lot of, and a reminder that sometimes criticism, however painful it is to sit with the discomfort, it can be used to do even better. So we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back, everyone. Don't go anywhere.
Are you a gifted, genius, and game-changing woman looking for your tribe? This is your moment. Introducing the G-Woman Collective, a powerful new global hub where women who lead, build, create, and innovate come together to rise. Founded on the premise that women's collective voices hold boundless power. At the heart of our mission lies a powerful purpose: to ignite global visibility and momentum for women everywhere. Whether in boardrooms or broadcasting, the mission is simple: make women seen, heard, and unstoppable. Join thousands of women across continents in a vibrant digital epicenter that's redefining community, collaboration, and visibility. From private forums and global networking to live sessions, masterminds, mentorships, and exclusive media features, including access to our sub-collectives. This is not your average membership. This is your seat at the table. Become a G-Woman ally, G-Woman champion, or G-Woman vanguard, and step into a space designed to amplify your voice, fuel your mission, and elevate your legacy. Sign up now at gwomancollective.com and let's rise together. G-Woman Collective, where gifted, genius, and game-changing women belong.
Okay, we're back, and this is still the G-Spot. And yes, you're listening to us live on G-Woman Radio. And before we went in that commercial break, we've been talking to our very special Genius Game Changer, Joselyn Dumas, actress, media personality, talk show host, and of course, brand ambassador, and so much more. And we've been talking about, just her experience, her career, and of course, her just what she's been through, and also, just how she's basically pivoted, through the different layers of her career. And so it's time for our G Talk Roundtable, obviously. And over to you, Frankie.
Thank you, Alex. Joselyn, it was really hard to come up with a topic for this, only because you are the queen of iteration. You reinvent yourself so much, and that's really wonderful. I think quality to have. But this segment, I'm going to be talking about a show that you did on Keeping It Real. a segment that you did. It was called The Midlife Crisis, Social Media and Comparison. And the premise was that social media is a driver of early midlife crisis, creating unrealistic benchmarks for success based on others' curated lives. Now, I find it really interesting because I wrote a book on the midlife crisis in 2009. And in G Woman Media, we are in the business of media and social media, and we're encouraging, women to use our platform to speak up and share. But is there a way to keep them from the psychological harm that maybe it's creating?
That's interesting. I remember that topic very well, and I think we're talking about how there's a lot of pressure on all of us. I mean, initially, my team and I were discussing, we're like, this generation, Gen Z, they're just giving themselves too much pressure. People are having when I was growing up, when you hear somebody has high blood pressure or somebody has a stroke, they're in their 70s, 80s, 90s. But now you're hearing 35-year-olds and, you're wondering, what are they doing? What is going on? Right? Apart from obviously so many factors, there's a lot of pressure on the young, on us, all of us, because we're all young, still very, forever young, to want something because we're seeing it. Right? You see someone's curated, like you said, someone's curated life, and you're like, I want that life. Even yesterday, I saw a picture, or I saw a feed, and I was like, ooh, this is so beautiful, because I saw a couple, and I was like, I wish that, I had a family like that and stuff. And I daydreamed a little bit, but I had to snap back out of it and say, okay, Joselyn, let's come back to earth, But not all of us are able to snap back sometimes when we daydream. And there's nothing wrong with daydreaming, but wanting somebody else's life because you've seen a nice curated life on social media is not the way to go, and that is what is causing a lot of heartaches and mental breakdowns and stuff. So I think for me, sometimes what I do is I do a social media fast. When I feel like it becomes too much, I log off and I just go about my life. And I always say to my friends that I'm so grateful that I was in an era where I didn't even know what a cell phone was. If you called me at home and I wasn't home, you're not going to reach me. And so I'm able to detach myself from social media because I still have a little bit of that discipline in me where I can actually drive, go to the gym, go and see my friend, have a coffee, and not use my phone. So I think one of the things that I would tell anyone listening is sometimes do a detox, do a social media detox. And yes, you look at someone's life, but remember that they're...
I'm sorry, we can't hear you. Joselyn?
Hi, Joselyn. Okay, not sure what's going on, but I'm sure she'll be back on.
She'll probably be back on.
She's here. She's still here.
Oh, you're back? Okay.
No, she's still here. She hasn't left, but maybe there's some technical, listeners, anything that can go wrong could go wrong. But here's what I'm going to say, just to add to, what you were talking about, Frankie, while we're waiting for Joselyn's sound to come on. I would say this, and because you mentioned since, G Women Media, we're in the business of, media, right? And I feel, just to add to something that Joselyn was talking about, she's very correct because, on social media, people are looking at the curated lives, right, of other people. And they're subjected to some psychology. Like if I see somebody who's doing better than me because they just bought a Range Rover, right, or they're having the couple goals, right? Oh my God, this couple, they look happy, but we're not in their marriage. We're not in the relationship. We don't know what the real truth is, right? We see someone who dresses nicely or who's spending money or seems like they're wealthy and we're like, we wish we had the same. I think what we're doing with G Women Media is good and can sort of create that balance is that we're not just showcasing a particular type of narrative, right? We're bringing different kinds of women together who have different types of lives, who are experiencing different things. And we're talking about all issues, right? So there's that balance of what the real world really looks like, that we're not just telling you only the good stuff. We're sharing about the bad stuff too. We're talking about the challenges. We're talking about what it's like to, just like she mentioned, They can look at all her beautiful pictures, for example, on social media and go, oh, wow, she's such a pretty lady. And like she mentioned, we all deal with at some point or have dealt with imposter syndrome, that there are things that other people may admire that to us, we think it's a challenge or a burden, right? For example, this great body looking, that she had. So I think that it's important that we have the kind of ecosystem where media showcases all kinds of stories, right? That we're able to balance what we're reflecting back to the world. But also something very important she talked about was the social media detox. I do that too, where
That was really
I'm telling
good.
you, I check out of social media. Like, I don't think I've posted on Facebook in a while.
I haven't either. Or today I did.
You know what I mean? Like, so I'm like out, like, man, I don't leave there anymore. There was a time that I did leave on social media. And I also, even for those who spend time there, it might be worthy to also curate your feed. Like, who do you follow, right? Do you understand what I mean? Like, who are the people you follow? What do you look at? I had to stop looking at my colleagues and go like, okay, this person's on the red carpet. This is what they wore. I started looking at inspirational figures, authors, people that I felt inspired me. So what I kept seeing were positive, inspirational stuff. I wasn't seeing trolls or people nagging or complaining about, I was seeing good stuff. So I curated my feed to only follow good things and good people and good stuff that inspired me, and not negative anything. So I think that's a way that we can protect our minds from the impending challenges.
The good thing about a midlife crisis, the only good thing about it is that you do take stock and you do ask yourself about, what is it that I want in life? And so that's good to question yourself. We should question ourselves. The bigger worry for me are the younger women, not those who are in midlife, but the younger ones who haven't had enough life lived to know that things change. Things aren't always the same. Life goes up, it goes down, and it balances out. And
that's right.
And so when they see things, they think, or the women who are not brand ambassadors, but the influencers. That's not always real life.
Yes.
Well, that's great. Certainly, you want to say something?
Yes, thank you, Alex. I just wanted to add to this that we're talking about social media stuff. It's also what we want to project to the world. And when Joselyn spoke about be you, what her grandmother told.
Yes.
It's like now we want to not just even, makeup, beautiful, all of that, but we want to actually use all the AI tools and make ourselves like another version of ourselves and put ourselves out there and then project ourselves far from what we actually are. So I really like some the whole thing about being yourself, and we have to own who we are. I think be proud of that.
True.
Yes.
True.
And regardless of the age,
Yes, agreed. Well, I know we're still waiting for our guest to come back on, and it's probably just a technical issue. But wherever you're listening, don't forget that this is still this is the G Spot, and yes, you're listening to us live on G Women Radio. And if you have any questions, comments, if you want to contribute to this, don't forget that you can be part of this conversation. You can, share your message, and of course, we'll have it up here on the show. We'll take a quick commercial break, and then we'll be back. Don't go anywhere.
Are you looking for a unique gift for baby showers, bedtime songs, fun time songs, and songs that teach lessons? Family road trip songs the whole family will enjoy. Songs that will trigger young imaginations. Nurture and educate your children, but adults will enjoy too? Then choose a Children's Song a Day book. This extraordinary book experience contains 1,000 songs in 5 volumes that will delight children aged 4 through 12, along with eye-popping illustrations and lyrics. Each song can be downloaded via a QR code on each page in 2 versions, one with full song, the other for a karaoke experience. Lyrics, melody, and singing are the creation and talent by Dr. Swapna Abraham, who embarked on a 1,000-day journey setting 4 world records in singing songwriting by the Golden Book of World Records. Each song is crafted for children to inspire dreams and explore life's wonders. They're available now on any Amazon near you, so get yours now and start singing.
It makes me want to frown. Down the hills, down the ocean, down the fields, wide horizon. I feel will bring a big smile sharing. Caring, bearing.
Okay, this is still the G Spot, and yes, you're listening to us. We're coming to you live on G Women Radio. My name is Alex Gurji, and I'm here with my co-hosts, Frankie Picasso, Swapna Abraham, Clara Rufai, and Mayuri Naidu. We're all joining you from different parts of the world, from our studios in Toronto, in Canada. Yeah, Toronto, Canada.
Yes.
Yes, right, correct. Kochi in India, Kerala, London, United Kingdom, and of course, Johannesburg, South Africa. And yes, I know you all were waiting for our guests to join us back on air. But it's been a pretty interesting conversation. Frankie.
Yes.
Oh, she's here. She's back here. I think she's here.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Hi. Okay. I think she's here. Hold on one second. Okay, so it's yeah. Welcome back, Joselyn. So I'm just going to quickly pass this on to Swapna. I know it's our G Spotlight, and I know we only have 9 minutes left before we wrap this up, so we don't have that much time.
Oh dear.
I'm going to
back.
keep this really brief. Jocelyn, you've impacted thousands and millions of people. Would you be able to recall one and make it, if you would kindly make it short, because I know Mayuri's got some really good questions for you, please. So huge impact that you can recall. Would love to hear, please.
Okay. So my foundation works with menstrual health, and I do the period cups. And I remember there was one time I was working with some people that had come into town for the year of return in Ghana a couple of years ago, and we were working with some of the street porters. And before that, I played a role of a street porter. So I understudied one street porter, and I realized that one of the moments that we were shooting, one of the girls had a plastic around her waist. So I asked her why she had the plastic wrap, and she said, "Oh, because she's on her period and she can't afford sanitary pad." So that really spoke volumes to me, and I was like, "What do we do? How do we even change this for this girl?" Because first of all, she sleeps outside. She's a street porter. She helps people in the market to carry their goods. So that was when I started doing the menstrual hygiene campaign and stuff like that. And one of the girls that we were able to empower was that girl, because we gave her a period cup. And one of the things that the things that you can do with the cup is you can use it for up to 10 years. So you don't have to spend money every month, because some of these girls can't even have it. They don't even have enough money for a 3-course meal or even a 2-course meal. How much more use the extra money to buy sanitary products, right? So the period cup is more empowering. It empowers them. And the thing is, most of these young men would also call them and promise them money, and then they will end up getting them pregnant. So I felt like the need to, she was one of the reasons why I jumped on that, the wagon of, promoting and advocating for the period cups. I mean, listen, we are still advocating for menstrual hygiene and menstrual products, period cups included. We haven't just narrowed it down to just period cups, but one of the things that I really push heavy is the period cups, especially for the girls in the rural areas and in the private areas.
Lovely.
And for me, that was one of the impactful things in my foundation. I did. Yeah.
Fantastic, Jocelyn. Thank you. I mean, that was really precious. Thank you so much. And I'm going to give it over to my sister.
Okay, everyone, I'm just going to quickly remind you to remember to jump into the comments with your thoughts. And Mayuri has some really interesting questions to ask Jocelyn. Over to you, Mayuri.
I know everyone's waiting for it. I'm feeling the pressure. Jocelyn, you studied administrative law, and you were working as a paralegal before stepping into film and television. So many women that are listening today are standing at that same crossroads between security and your calling. So what was the moment you realized you had to choose passion over predictability? And what did trusting that decision ultimately teach you about your own power?
So I've always, and like I said in the beginning, I've always done acting, television. I've always been involved with arts, creative arts and stuff like that. My grandmother was a thespian, it's all the works. So I've always done debate, drama. I was always in the debate club, drama club, all the way from secondary school, all the way. So it's something that I've always had a passion for. But I and I always hear that I didn't choose it; it chose me, because I didn't even realize at what point. Like, I didn't set out to say, oh, I want to be an actress, or I want to, like you said, I did what I had to do. I was working, but at the time when I was working, I wanted extra income. Young girl, I like nice
Yeah.
things, and I mean, living abroad, you sometimes have to work 3 or 4 jobs to be able to pay some of your bills here and there, which is fine. Nobody's complaining. At least I wasn't complaining. So I looked for a job, and one of the things that I thought I could do was, just host. So it's something that I was just going to do it as a thing to just while away the time and make some money. And then when I got into it without any formal training, my boss at the time thought, listen, there's something there. You're good. You're a natural. So if you want to do this and do it well, because every time I go to work, I close from work 5 o'clock, I'm flustered. I come, I read my notes, and then I go on air. He's like, Jocelyn, you need to own this thing, okay? Don't regurgitate the words. Like, do the research yourself and come and do this hosting thing, because you're good at it. So that was where I started transitioning slowly into that. I was a little lucky because I landed with a production company that were doing a series of shows. So what they did was they'll throw me here, they'll throw me there, and they'll throw me in the deep end. Sometimes I'll either choose to sink or swim, and I was swimming for my life every day. But I'm so glad I got that experience. So now if you're at that point, I remember I went to a school to do some mentorship program, and a girl said, I want to be an actress, but my mother said I should finish school. I said, your mom is paying your school fees. Your mom, education is very important, because a lot of things that I'm doing now, I don't think that if I didn't get my education, I don't think I would have gotten this far. I don't think I would have even had the idea to reinvent myself at every given point in time, because I did television for a long time. And when I felt like when television was sort of slow for me, I decided to like morph right into the acting thing and do it well. And I'm producing now. Next thing I know, I want to learn how to direct. So again, reinventing yourself, it all comes from actually having the basics, having that, the education is important. Now, if you're working 9 to 5 and you're probably bored, I would say don't quit your job just yet. You can do whatever you're doing. If you can still pursue your passion, but do it as a passion until it starts paying. Because you need something to also sustain you. And that 9 to 5 is what is going to keep the lights on, because your passion is not going to pay the bills. Your passion is not going to keep the lights on in the beginning, especially. But when you do it and you do it well, when the bills are being taken care of and you have enough time and your mind is at ease, you can pursue your passion and pursue it very well. So a lot of now this generation are lucky because parents are allowing their children to go to drama school, art school, and even study creative arts and stuff in school. It wasn't like that in our generation. Every child must be a doctor, a lawyer, a pilot, an engineer.
Yeah.
But now parents are more understanding, so you can even do it from jump. But if you find yourself working 9 to 5, what I would say, and it's just what I think is right? You continue doing your 9 to 5, keep the lights on, keep the bills paid, and then pursue your passion and do it well. Pursue your passion. Do use that money that you're even making for 9 to 5 to pursue your passion. Because it might not be free, it might not be cheap, it might not be easy, but at least keep a roof over your head so that you are not stranded and frustrated because of your passion. So I always tell people that keep the job, but pursue the passion and take it one day at a time. And then when the time comes for you to say, you know what, I'm going to hang the boots on this corporate thing and I'm going to do this. And that goes with even entrepreneurship and everything else. Do what you're supposed to do to keep the lights on, to pay the bills, to even pay for what you're starting. And then once you are in a position, you will know. And then you can let the other one go and then pursue your passion.
True.
That
makes sense.
Okay,
That's
ladies.
very cautious, very cautious approach. Thank you, Jocelyn. I like it.
Thank you, ladies. I know time goes by so fast when you're having fun. We only have 2 minutes to wrap. And so we'll quickly take the mic drop moment. Very quickly, Frankie.
It's just me being me and enjoying my space and being who I am.
Swapna.
I'm going to take it, I'm going to work on it, and I'm going to come back better.
Woohoo. Yeah. Okay, Clara.
It's grandma's words for me, where grandma says women should be seen and heard.
Mayuri?
It may take time, but authenticity will always win.
Oh my God, lovely. Oh, well, for me, it was you're uniquely you. Nobody can be you, and that's your
I love
superpower.
that.
So, Joselyn, we've had such an amazing time, and we're so sorry that this is running fast. We need to bring you back again some other time, maybe on something else. But just final words quickly, very quickly, because we got to wrap this up quickly. Any final words?
Okay, I just want to say a huge thank you.
You're tuned into G Woman Radio for the global woman, gifted, genius, game changer,